and welcome to the Girl Get Up podcast. I am your host, the Aquarian Chancellor, and this is the podcast where I come on and I share my stories. I bring my guests on, they share their stories, all in hopes that it inspires you, the listening audience, to go out and discover your infinite possibilities. So today I have a guest. Her name is Whitney B. Whitney, please share with the audience who you are and what you do.
Perfect. Thanks, C. Hey, everybody. So I am Whitney B or Whitney Barkley for those who know me formally, and I have had quite a journey. Right now, I am a personal branding expert that specializes in artificial intelligence. So really working with people to understand how they can use AI to 10x their personal brand. But through the years, I've had some amazing experiences, including writing a children's book called Hey Black Girl, being a self-published author. I worked recently for a business incubator. So I was the director of an award-winning incubator called the Greater West Dayton Incubator, where I work with over 350 unique entrepreneurs. There's just so many different things, but all in all, I am a true entrepreneur to the core. And my ultimate goal is just to make sure to bring the best out of people, whether that's through my books, whether that's through my work. I'm always focused on making sure that people see that light bulb so they can really
Okay,
just be the
so
best
as
version of
I
themselves.
talk to all of my guests to kind of get an idea of who they are and what shaped their journey, could you share some childhood experiences that kind of, and when you think back now, gave you some type of indicators that you would be an educator, an entrepreneur, and an overall powerhouse of a woman?
It's really crazy. I can kind of think of a couple of different experiences. When I was in high school, I was always conflicted, like, am I going to be a journalist or am I going to be a teacher? And I
Mhm.
always had that inkling, like, that I would do both things. And I've had the opportunity to do both things. So when I went to college, I studied mass communications. I came out and I worked as a digital content producer for a TV station. I realized, like, oh my gosh, like TV is really bad. Like I had to go to work at 2 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't get off until 12 o'clock. Like it was all bad. But I love just that element of storytelling, right? When I left, I actually later on started teaching for a school called the International College of Broadcasting. So I had that experience where I was able to start teaching, and then I later on went to teach at other universities as well. So for me, I just remember in high school I attended a boot camp. It was a journalism boot camp. They had brought in like all the kids from the city who wanted to get into journalism. And then I just remember sitting on at the set of a TV station and I'm like, I can see myself here. I can see myself doing this. Like, and I started to manifest that for myself. Now, the teaching part was really interesting. When I've always loved the educators and the people around me. So I always wanted to be like the people who always push me. I feel like the teachers and the people that I had younger, like I've always had a good school experience and I've always had people who were pushing and molding me. So I always felt like I wanted to be an educator to pay homage. But what really took me there is when I was in college, we had a visitor to our school. And I told the visitor, like, hey, I think I want to try Teach for America. So Teach for America is this program. They take people with like non-education backgrounds, they put them in urban schools to work with children. And, I was telling this guy, and he's like, well, you shouldn't try to strive for that because, they only accept so many African Americans. You won't actually be, someone who's selected. So like I made it my best effort to make sure that I got into that program.
You hit on so many good things. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about the mentorship part because it sounds as if you said you put yourself around the right people that were motivating you and pushing you forward. How important was that to your journey of success, and what encouragement would you give anyone who's younger, who's listening to this, who wants to get in the right path but don't know how or who to seek out?
That's great. I've always been a strong proponent of making sure that I surround myself with the right people, and that started at home. So, my dad was an entrepreneur. So, when I was 8 years old, he left his job, started his own business, and so we would go up and down the highway from Columbus, Ohio to Dayton, Ohio, and I would just observe how he interacted with people, right? Like how he presented himself, and like I didn't know then, but like he was really kind of molding me, and I always knew that he always had people around him. So, I always felt like I need to have the right type of friends around me too, or the right people. So I think mentorship is important. And I think as a young person, I recognized very early on that I didn't have the answers to everything. Like, like when you're young, you think you just know stuff. Like, I was
Mhm.
like, no, I want to find somebody that's already did it because I don't want to go through these challenges. Like, I want to find someone who can give me the blueprint or at least can help me figure it out. So it was always important. And then when I was in school, I was always someone who was striving, and I think people saw that in me. And so they made it very, people were very intentional about making sure I had access to specific resources. And if that wasn't something that people were sharing with me, I was very intentional of figuring out how to do it. Like when I was a teenager, I'm like, I don't want to work at McDonald's. Are there programs that lets me work in an office? So I found like a works program in my city, and then even with those supervisors, I still keep in contact with people. I have college professors. My professor just had a birthday the other day. Still talk to her, still talk to my other professor's wife. Like you have to build those relationships with people. But it starts with
I
just
would say
showing
for
them your
any younger
potential, I think,
person or
or just
just
anyone who's really kind of looking for that mentorship. Always look at a mentorship as a relationship, right? It's not just, they are giving you something. You want to figure out what you want to give in turn. When I was older in my 20s, I had a mentor. Her name is Miss Linda. Still talk to Miss Linda today. Miss Linda was a personal branding expert. Like she really taught me how to position myself. And so I'm like, okay, I'm learning from Miss Linda, but Miss Linda didn't know about social media. Like she was past that threshold. She's like, old school, still doing things. And so I'm showing her how to do stuff. And so we had that exchange of a relationship to where it was beneficial for both of us. So I would definitely say seek out to find people who believe in you, who want to help you, but also figure out how you can help those individuals. And then look for programs that give you an opportunity to build those lifelong relationships. Like, don't be afraid to just immerse yourself with other
you
people
said
because you just never
something
know what
so
will
key,
happen.
and it like when I heard it, you said show others your potential. And you just said that, taking it back a few minutes ago, you just said that you had someone try to discourage you from applying for a program that was really something that you really wanted to do for yourself. What did you tell yourself to say, you know what, I'm not going to listen to anybody else. I'm going to do what it is that's in my heart to do, and I'm not going to let anybody discourage me from my path.
That's a really great question. I think the most powerful words that we say to ourselves is I am and what comes after that, right? So, like, I personally feel like I am a limitless person. I feel like I am capable, right? So, those affirmations were something that was important to me. Like, when that man told me that, and, and mind you, this was someone who was like prominent, right? Someone I was excited to
Mhm.
meet. And it's so, like, when you meet someone who you think is up here and then they put you down here, it activates something in you, right? Like that just became motivation for me. Like I could have let it discourage me, and I think it did discourage me for a little while, but I'm like, no, I think I'm gonna still do it. Like let me just see what happens, right? Like let me see what I'm able to actually do. And when I did that, it wasn't even about like me getting into it. It was just the process of me going through the process and preparing for the process and knowing that I put my best foot forward to actually be able to do it. And when I was accepted, like, I was like, that's a no-brainer because I know that I did what I needed to do, right? So
Right.
I just think it's really important that we understand that sometimes when people say things to us, they are projections. And I think sometimes that's why we hear a lot of people talk about like imposter syndrome and not feeling
Yeah.
like they can fully show up. And like for me, I'm 34. I'll be transparent, I'm 34, and probably about 2 or 3 years ago I really realized like I need to get rid of this whole thought of imposter syndrome. At the end of the day, I'm the only person that can control my reality. People can tell me what they think I can and cannot do, but that is not necessarily the truth. An opinion is not necessarily fact. And what are the facts about me? And when I started laying out the facts, like, hey, I have this many years of experience. Hey, I went to school. I got these certificates. I had these type of connections. I'm more than capable and more than the best person to be able to do it. So those are the type of conversations that I've had to have with myself. And I just think it's important that
Well
people
said.
don't
Thank
dim their
you.
light.
Taking those concepts, you've written two books, The Skinny Black Girl's Guide to Freedom and Hey Black Girl. Did I get that correct?
Mhm.
What inspired those and what feedback have you gotten from the readers that how it changed their lives?
Wow. So I wrote The Skinny Black Girl's Guide to Freedom when I was about 25 or 26 years old. And that book was really important because it stemmed from a blog. So I ran a blog years ago, back in like from 2014 all the way up until about 2020. So I think I stopped in 2020. And I started that blog because I had body image issues. I was a skinny black
Okay.
girl.
Mhm.
I hadn't gotten my grown woman body yet. And I had been a skinny girl all my life. I used to joke with people and say I was on the Jesus and cornbread diet because I just couldn't gain weight. I couldn't acquire I'm a millennial, so we had the Coke bottle shape, right? So
Uh-huh.
that was something that you strive for. And I had this crazy experience. And so, people will always say crazy things that were mean to me, like, oh, you need to eat something. You need some meat on your bones. Like it's things that people say that are common sayings, but people don't realize how offensive it can really be and how self-conscious it can make young ladies feel. So I was talking to my dad. My dad was like, skinny black girls don't have problems. Like, like he thought I was delusional and I was making it up. So I created my blog to show, hey, these are women who really have self-esteem problems based on things that people have said about their body weight, their body type. And so I took that concept and I'm like, man, I think I need to write like a memoir or like a life book. And so I started off writing about like body image and self-esteem, but it got so much deeper. So I touched on so many things, went from setting your goals to finding your faith to how to create relationships with other people. So I kind of just took a culmination of the experiences that I had in my life and put it in that book. That book was really great. It was my first book. I self-published it. Like I did all the steps. And it was really good because I met so many people who confirmed and validated those experiences. And I'm just
Yeah.
so happy that I was able to put it in a tangible form because I believe that books are like our legacy, right? Books are something that lives longer than you. And so I'm
Mhm.
happy that I have something that someone can look back and say, I can relate to that. Now, hey, Black girl, that stemmed in 2020. So in 2020, of course, we were going through our global pandemic. At the time, I was married and I got a divorce during that time. And when I got my divorce, it really shook me. Like it really just like brought back some things from childhood. And then I was like, man, like my younger self, like how would she look at me right now? Like what are the things that like she would want to hear? And I was out working in Las Vegas, and at 7 o'clock in the morning, I swear, like I feel like it was God. God said, "Hey, black girl," and I'm like, "Okay, what
Okay.
is that, black girl?" So I'm like writing, like I'm just like jotting down thoughts. Like I would probably say it took me about 35, 40 minutes to really write the book, and I'm like, "Oh, this is a children's book," and like my secret pastime was rapping, so everything was like
Okay.
flowing. So I put that in the book. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. And so I tried to hire some illustrators that didn't work. So I challenged myself to do the graphic design and create the book myself.
Okay.
And so I did it. I launched it on my 30th birthday. And I think that was like Hey Black Girl is a love letter to young girls to let them know that they matter, that they are enough. And it was really a love letter to myself during one of the hardest periods of my life. So that reception has been very well. I do a lot of speaking with schools. I work with a lot of youth groups. And really, my goal, I have a personal goal to hit a million girls and to
Okay.
make sure they hear this message. So that's kind of been my story. I mean, they're very similar but different. The first book was more for adults, but the second book was more for
Okay.
girls
I
to
love
see
that. I
themselves.
love that. You said something. You said, so are you, because you do have a podcast, and I wasn't going to talk about it right now, but let's open up the door for that. You have
Mhm.
a podcast. It's called the Pink Lemonade Podcast. And I had a chance to listen to your most popular episode, and I could tell why it was the most popular. It was how to find peace when you are under attack. So that's the one that I
Yeah,
listened. And I love the intro, but then I love the song. Was that you?
yeah, that
Right?
was me. It was me.
Love it. We challenge you to take on that task.
Okay. Pink Lemonade. I'm a big Beyonce fan. So when she wrote Lemonade, I was like, oh, this was like so transparent. And it reminded me like I never really was taking time to really just sit with my own thoughts.
Mhm.
I think especially ambitious women, we're very like we're going to the next thing. Like we accomplished something, okay, cool, that's off
Yeah.
the list. Now we got to go on to something else. And what I learned in that process was I was doing, sometimes you can do so many things where you're not doing anything. And it's
Mm,
really important to understand what are your values, right? And I just felt like I was just operating, but I didn't have like my own values and principles that allowed me to say yes or no to different opportunities. So Pink Lemonade was my moment of reflection. So it's typically have been a solo podcast, but now I've started to bring on guests.
okay.
But ultimately, I wanted to create a space where I could think about my values and the people who are listening, hopefully they could think about their values, whether it align with mine or not. They can figure out, okay, like where do I stand when it comes to certain things? Where do I stand when it comes to procrastination or saying no or creating boundaries? Like I wanted to create conversations within people, like not even just a conversation with me. Like I just want people to walk away and think about where do they stand and ultimately how are their
Well, thank
values
you. I
guiding the
love it.
decisions
I
that they
love how, first of all, I love the sound. It's modern. It's something that I feel like women of all ages can connect to. And like again, the principles remain the same because I don't care the color, creed, religion, or background. We're all going through the same thing. It may present itself differently, but we're all going through the same challenges to really bring the best out of ourselves. Like you said, there
Mhm.
are no losses as long as you've learned a lesson from it. So absolutely, I love it. Thank you for taking on that challenge and presenting something that the world can learn from. So let's go to the business part. The name of your business, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is Speakerazzi.
Yeah, she said it right. Speakerazzi. Yep.
Okay, Speakerazzi. Now you teach entrepreneurs, aspiring or otherwise, how to incorporate AI into their business processes, correct?
Yeah.
What inspired you to take on that challenge? What did you learn throughout that process was the business owner's biggest fear about taking on AI or incorporating AI in their business?
Those are really great questions. So it's so funny. I was using AI before it became like mainstream in business now. So back in 2019, I came across this tool called copy.ai.
Yes.
And yep, so I was using that like this is like pre-chat GPT. So
Mhm.
at the time, I was working in my business full time and I had so many clients and I was trying to do the whole like I'm just a solopreneur, I'm gonna do all this stuff. But I had to figure out like, was there another way for me to create content without burning out? So I don't even remember how I came across the tool. I found the tool, and so I was using it on a regular basis. So I'm like cranking out content like fast because I already had the copywriting brain and it was providing me with the foundation. And so when Chat GPT came around in 2022, I'm like, wow, I've been already doing this stuff, right? Like I've already been using these generative AI tools. They were just never formalized. I never had formal names to it. You know, the stuff I was typing was prompting. You know, like I didn't have that
I'm really grateful
that
for
formality to
it.
the first speaking engagement in AI that I ever had was with the Urban League of Southwest Ohio. They had a boot camp here in Dayton, where I live, and I was the AI. I was the presenter, right? So we had about maybe 30 people, 30 or 40 people who came into the room, and it was an amazing experience. And it confirmed for me, like, people need this. Like there are so many problems that people are facing inside of their business and they don't even know what the technology is able to do for them. And so I took on this challenge because I know where big business is going. And if you are a LinkedIn person, you'll see every day of how companies, big companies are adopting AI, creating AI policies or, you know, trying to create their own AI technology. And so for me, I just kind of see this as an opportunity to take the principles of what I would typically do with personal branding, content creation, the things that I've already been doing, and just showing
Some
people
of
how
the
to amplify it with
misconceptions, like
AI
when you're
tools.
going and you're talking to people and you're promoting, incorporating AI in their policies and procedures or their everyday activities, what are some of the misconceptions that you hear from people about AI?
You know, there's like a different spectrum of people. Like, there are some people who are like, yes, I want to dive right in, right? But those are people who also like have to understand just some of the security and the things that are around it. Like, I encourage everybody to do it, right? But when I have a workshop, for example, the first thing that I'll tell people is, okay, let's go into your settings in Chat GPT. Do you see a setting in your data that says improve the model for everyone? Most of the time, people have that on. They haven't even taken the time to understand the terms and conditions of the platform. So, like for those enthusiasts, I love that, but I don't know if they necessarily understand the risk that comes with using it. Like I think sometimes people think just because it's a website and it's a big name website, everything is safe. So for those who are the enthusiasts that kind of have no fear around safety, I would say that's normally the first thing, first place where I start. Now for those who are a little bit more fearful, because I'll hear like I think AI is going to take my job or something's going to happen and I do think AI is going to replace some jobs. Now, do I
Yes.
think it's going to make the human existence obsolete? No. Like, I think there's always going to be some sort of human that's going to be needed for oversight, for, just for just certain functions that I just think a robot cannot do. But on the same sense, for business owners, the businesses that are using AI are going to be a lot more
So
in demand than those who do not.
you have received several awards, and I'm not going to list them all out here, but
Right.
here are some to note. The Millennial Visionary Award. You are a recipient, excuse me, of the Project Entrepreneur Award, the Power of I Am Award, the Hustler of the Year Award, and finally, I do believe this is the most recent, please correct me if I'm wrong, the President's Lifetime Achievement Award. How do you feel? You're 34. How do you
I
feel?
I
Is it
feel really
real?
good. The most recent one was unreal to me. The
Okay.
President's Lifetime Achievement Award, because like the pretenses of like how it came out, I'm like, okay, President's Lifetime Achievement Award, that's fine. But then like when I got there, I'm like, oh, this is for real. Like this is
For
a real,
real?
like Joe Biden signed this. Like this is a real
Yes.
award.
Yes.
Like I was really like excited, but it just also was really good to be seen. There are some awards where I feel like these are people who really saw me, because the President's Lifetime Achievement Award, that actually happened last month. We traveled to Fayetteville, so my family and I went to Fayetteville for me to receive that award. And for people who don't even live in the same city, the same state, to be able to recognize my achievements like that meant everything for me. And it just shows me that I just have to keep going. Like you do the work regardless of if people see you or not, but it's really nice when someone finally does see you.
Yes. So, where do you see yourself if you could within the next 2 years? Where do you see yourself going with Speakerazzi and your platform of helping people build personal brand?
So my mentality around business is so different now. When I was full time up until 2021. And in 2021, I took on the role as a director of the incubator. My work has always centered primarily around minorities and women. And minorities and women have traditionally always kind of been locked out of the opportunities. And I know the two things that are going to fundamentally change how we change the trajectory for ourselves when it comes to generational wealth and just growing is visibility and technology. So my goal is to take that combination of, traditional rules of visibility and promotion and pair that with technology so that people are ultimately more seen and have, bigger opportunities and more importantly, just better opportunities for more income just so
What
they
are
can
some
build
words of
generational
wisdom
wealth.
that you would encourage people to help encourage people to go out and pursue their infinite possibilities?
I would say a couple of things. I think the first thing is, if God gives you a vision, it's a vision that's meant for you. And sometimes people are not always going to see your vision. Look, I wear glasses. Everybody can't see through my glasses, but these glasses are made specifically for me. And it's the same thing with, the things that are downloaded in you to do. And I think a lot of times people psych themselves out because people tell them, no, you shouldn't do that. Or why don't you try like this or try like that? Like you have to be really intentional about like blocking out the noise. Like when it's your time, it's your time. Like, don't allow anything else to delay what you want to do. Like, when I left my role at the incubator, it was something I had been thinking about for a little while. Like, I really enjoyed the work and I enjoyed the job, but I knew it was time for me to go back on my own and really just pursue my entrepreneurial endeavors in a way that I knew that I could do it. I was in a good space. Like I didn't have anything going on. And I felt like I was the healthiest place mentally for me to go back into business and thrive. But there were so many things that were happening. People left, people were having like personal issues at home. And I felt like responsible, like, no, well, I can't leave people hanging. But sometimes, like, when you're trying not to leave other people hanging, you leave yourself hanging in the process. So even though like I was holding on for the sake of others, I wasn't honoring myself by doing what I needed to do. And so I know that when I make a decision, is really me honoring yourself. So if you know that you're supposed to do something and you don't do it, like don't think about who you're disappointing. Think about how much you're disappointing yourself or how much you're not honoring what you
Thank you
really
for
want to
sharing
do.
that. I appreciate you, Whitney, for coming on and sharing your expertise and sharing your journey with us and with me. I most appreciate it. Do you have any final words? Oh, could you share with the audience where we can find more about you, where we can find more about how to find your books and your business, Speakerazzi?
Okay, well, both my books, they're on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon and look up Hey Black Girl, the Skinny Black Girl's Guide to Freedom, they're there. I have Hey Black Girl like merch. So if you go to heyblackgirlbook.com, there are plenty of fun things and downloads for girls. I'm Whitney L. Barkley everywhere on every platform, Whitney L. Barkley. So if you want to find me there, if you want to learn AI tips, on Instagram, it's called Learn with Whitney. So that is my AI platform. But I love connecting with people on LinkedIn, and I'm an open book. So, y'all, if you ever have questions, just reach out.
All right. Well, we're going to include all of that information in the show notes and the details. So if anyone who's looking to connect with you, they can. You hang on. We're going to send you off the right way. But for the audience, we will see you next episode. Take care, everyone.